So it's picking up from War of the Spark, Ravnica by Weisman. So the previous video I did, the prelude, which was chapter 1, and act 1, chapter 2. So I'm starting off with chapter 3 of act 1. Chandra Nalar. Chandra Nalar, planeswalker and pyromancer, sank deeper into the oversoft armchair in her mother's new apartment in the city of Jairapur on the plain of Kalida. She was anxious, frustrated, angry, frightened, and more than a little bored. Pia Nalar had prepared a tray of dark, rich, hot chocolate for her daughter and her daughter's friends, and had then departed for a council meeting, saying her goodbyes to Chandra, as she always did, as if she might never see her again. Only this time she might be right. Now Chandra, cup of chocolate untouched on the side table, slashed with her chin, practically touching her chest as she glanced around at her companions. Over on the sofa, the mind mage Jace Bellerin, looking weary and haggard, stared into his own cup of brown liquid, as if somehow it might reveal the true secret of defeating the elder dragon Nicobolus. Besides him, the Time Master, Teferi, leaned back, resting his eyes and breathing deeply. Perched on stools at the kitchen counter, the lion-headed healer, a Johnny Goldmane, chatted pleasantly with Chandra's sometimes pyromantic mentor, Jaya Ballard, about bird watching, of all things. The silver golem Karn stood motionless in the corner, seemingly engrossed in perfecting his already phenomenal resemblance to a statue. Planeswalkers all, they were the Gate Watch, the supposed saviors of the multiverse. Well, technically, Jay and Karn hadn't actually joined the Watch, which is to say they had declined to take the oath, but they were here to fight besides the rest against the dragon Bolus, to fight and probably to die. In a hurried motion, Jace put his cup down on the coffee table as if the hot chocolate suddenly frightened him. "He's taking too long," Jace said. He was Gideon Jura, the soul of the Gate Watch, or so Chandra had come to believe. Gids had walked back to Demaria to find yet another member of the Watch, the necromancer Lilius Vess, who should have met them here on Kaladesh, but had failed to show. Jace had already made it abundantly clear he thought Gideon was on a fool's errand, that Lillian had never had any intention of joining them in their fight against Bolus, that she had exploited the Gate Watch as a tool to slay her own personal demons, literally, and that now that those demons were dead and gone, her use for her so-called friends had likewise come to an end. But Gids had refused to believe that, and Chandra had agreed with him, as had Jace, Karn, and Teferi. All five of them felt strongly that Lilius, despite her own well-manicured facade of selfishness, was indeed their true friend and ally, that she cared about them, even Jace, maybe especially Jace. They had slept together, right? But Lilius definitely cared about Gideon, whom she mocked unceasingly, but with affection. And Chandra didn't think she was flattering herself believing that Liliana cared about her too. Chandra thought of Lilian as an older sister, a way older sister, a centuries older sister, but a sister nonetheless. Chandra was confident Gideon would return at any moment with Liliana in tow, ready to join the conflict, the final conflict against the evil dragon mastermind. But Chandra had to agree Gideon was taking too long. She wasn't exactly worried about him. Gideon's powers made him nigh on invulnerable. The rest might fall, Chandra might fall, yet Gids would fight on and on and on and on. It's just who he is, she thought. The indomitable warrior, the underlying judgment with that unerring sense of justice in those washboard abs. Once upon a time, Chandra had sported a major crush on Gids. She was over that now, but he pretty much remained her best friend in the world, on any world, in the multiverse, whatever. She sighed. She had been a planeswalker since she was a preteen, but it was still occasionally difficult to adjust her vocabulary to what that meant. Chandra Noir was one of a select groups of individuals who could travel planeswalk between dimensions, passing from one plane to the next, from one world to another. Every world she had ever walked to had its own set of troubles and turmoil, so none of them needed new dangers arriving from planes unknown. That's why the Gatewatch had been formed, so that planeswalkers who gave a damn would be there to fight, to safeguard worlds from interplanar threats like Nicobolus. Well, not like Bolus, from Bolus. It had become clear over the last few weeks that every single threat they had faced had been generated, initiated, concocted by the dragon himself. And that's not even counting their encounter on the plane of Almaket, where Bolus had flat out kicked their collective asses. Of course, the Gatewatch hadn't had Jaya or Teferi or Karn with them then. Just Chandra, Jace, Gids, Liliana, and she sank still deeper into her chair. Gideon was taking too long. If the 7, or hopefully 8 of them were going to arrive at their destination ahead of Bolus and prepare for the coming battle, they needed to get planeswalking already. Frankly, the suspense was killing her. Chandra stuck out her lower lip and blew upwards, a lazy attempt to move one of her wild red tresses out of the way of her left eye. It had literally no effect. She tried again, and a third time. And then she shot to her feet, galvanized by a call from across the plains. The others reacted with less motion, but no less concern. Do you feel that? Chandra asked, knowing they had. All of them nodded silently. She looked upward towards the sky and, of course, saw only the roof of her mother's apartment. But between her and the roof were lights that sparkled like gemstones and called out to her to follow them to Ravnica. Ravnica, Jay stayed. There was a murmur of agreement from each of the others. What does this mean? Are we too late? Karn asked. No one answered right away. They all knew that Bolus wanted them on Ravnica, that he had set a trap of some kind for them there. They had hoped to arrive before him and thwart his trap, his invasion, and any other nefarious plan. But prior experience with Bolus indicated that he was a lot more likely to be the one doing the swatting. Jace spoke carefully, slowly, as if trying to convince himself. It could be a call for help from those who know Bolus is coming to Ravnica. Tefari shrugged. It could mean he's already there. Chandra was still staring at the sparkling light. Blue, green, red, white, and glowing black. They called to her, promising nothing but doom, and yet fostering a powerful urge to planeswalk with them to another dimension, another plane, to the world city of Ravnica. You feel that pull? She asked, knowing they did. Again, there were nods all around. Just then, a burst of golden light heralded the arrival of Gideon Jura as he walked into the room, looking every inch the hero, his hand upon the hilt of the black blade, the soul-drinking sword that they hoped would kill Bolus since nothing else would. Okay, yes, the wadding is all fine and good, but really we just want the damn dragon dead. God knows he deserves it. Finally, Chandra and Jay said in their near-perfect unison. Sorry, Gid said. It took all my strength to come to Kaladesh. I felt a powerful call to go straight to Ravnica. Still feel it. You? Jace nodded, raising his hood. Chandra thought maybe the action was meant as a slight distraction because Jace suddenly looked fairly heroic in his own right, which meant he had probably generated an illusion of his better days to compensate for his general exhaustion, or to unconsciously compete with the no need for an illusion Gids. Gideon said, well, that doubly disturbing. Do we think Bolus' trap is already set? Tefari shrugged again. Better to assume so. Chandra blurted out, where's Liliana? Gideon looked away. There is no sign of her on Dominaria. She had planeswalked already, but she obviously didn't come here. Maybe she felt the call to Ravnica and couldn't help herself, Chandra said, ever hopeful. Gideon shook his head. She may have gone to Ravnica, but if she did, she went before this summons, or whatever it is, and she knew we were all supposed to come here first. Jay said, I don't want to say I told you so. Gideon scowled. I think that's exactly what you want to say. Jace actually looked hurt. I don't take any pleasure in this, Gideon. No one wanted to believe in Liliana more than I did. No one had more riding on it than I did. Except Liliana, Gideon countered. Jace inhaled and nodded. Yes, except for her. Jaya scooped up her long gray hair and tucked it into her own hood as she raised it over her head. It's a damn shame. We could have used her experience, her skill, her power. Johnny started. There's nothing we can do about that now. Gideon said, there's nothing we can do for her now. I know that. We have to get to Ravnica and face whatever Bolus has in store. We know it's a trap which may help us avoid it, and even if we can't avoid it, we go anyway. You can't let the dragon do to Ravnica what he did to Moncahet. In a city the size of a planet, there are just too many lives at stake. No one moved. Chandra felt herself heating up. Jaya must have sensed it too as she shot a glare at her protege, a clearly instructed breeze child. As Chandra had no desire to torch her mother's new apartment, she took the unspoken advice and silently counted to 10. She was angry with Liliana, and she feared for her as well. But truly her thoughts weren't with Liliana Vess at all. As much as she missed her sister, she missed Nessa Rivan even more, secretly wishing that the elf woman were there besides me. Nessa was the last original member of the Gatewatch, but she had abandoned their cause months ago, leaving Chandra and the rest behind. Nessa had been a source of strains for Chandra for all of them, in some ways even more so than Gideon, but there is no helping that now either. They had lost Nissa as surely as they had lost Liliana. The 7 of them were on their own. The 7 of us have to be enough. Chandra glanced around the room at the grim faces. Look, it's not all bad, she said, feeling the need to buck them up and herself up. She's right, Johnny said. I recruited Kyora and Tamio to our cause. They haven't sworn any oath, but they both promised to meet us in Ravnica. And Jace is still the living guild pack of Ravnica. Chandra added, giving Bellerin a friendly punch on the shoulder. His word there is magic law, literally. Even Boas can't change that, right? Right, Jace said, rubbing his shoulder while affecting a confidence that perhaps he didn't feel. So let's get on with it. He disintegrated into a complex, crisscross pattern of blue light as he plans to walk to Ravnica. Gideon and Ajani followed in storms of gold, Jaya in a conflagration of red flame. Tefari seemed to transform into a blue whirlwind that swept him and itself away, and Karn simply vanished with a sharp metallic ping. Chandra paused, looking around the now empty room. Bye, Mom, she whispered. Wish us luck. Then, with her own burst of fire, she plans walked away from her point of Kaladesh towards wherever awaited them on Ravnica. So I'll pick it back up in chapter 4 on another time. Hopefully you enjoyed this, piece of the story, and if you haven't already subscribed, maybe consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification so you can see when new and different videos get uploaded. Thanks, and have a good day.